Hello and welcome to another episode of the Full Force Weekly, brought to you by GeneralsJoesReborn.com, with me as your host, Christopher McLeod AKA Diagnostik80. For today's episode, I'm all on my own. In this regular video series, I round up all the week's news in the world of G.I. Joe. What is it, me?
It's the Full Force Weekly. How is everyone doing? Hello, I'm Christopher McLeod AKA. I've just said that. I just said that at the beginning. That's me. I'm here. I'm the problem. It's me. Without Pat today, who is obviously AR. Big shout out to everyone at Assembly Required, by the way. That's kicking off today. I believe there's a custom class going on at the moment, or was. Hope everyone's having an absolute blast. So jealous I can't be there. But yes, I'm still coming at you with a weekly at 1 o'clock, more or less. Close enough, eh? Close enough. Thanks to everyone in the comments already, with lots and lots of comments already. Thank you guys. Eddie, Penny Rooster reviews. I love that name. Kate, hello, honey. RKW Tac Renegade Biker Paisano 77. Hello, guys. Hope everyone's having a lovely Friday, and I hope everyone's about to enjoy the weekend. Basically, you're obviously, I'm sure people are still at work, and I'm sure there are people that work on the weekend as well. But you know, you never know. Hope you're having a great one, whatever you're doing. Yes, Tac says Chuckles might be my favourite JoJo Classified figure so far. Picked him up from In Demand at MCM London. Tac, shout out to In Demand, Nick, Mass, and the rest of the crew. I miss my friends. Shout out to those amazing guys. I also miss doing cons, because I would have been at that MCM London had it been, I don't know, 7-8 years ago. Full Force Eric, hello. Mark on the show. Hello, Mark. Big love from Iowa. Missing you, Chris. I can't believe Mark Seddon flew all the way out to Iowa and I couldn't even make it around the corner. I feel terrible. I'm glad you're having a good time though, mate. Yeah, and shout out to everyone at Assembly Required. They'll get their shout out at the end, but still, hope everyone's having a great time. I've got lots to talk to you guys about. It's been a busy old week, hasn't it? Really, it really has. Actually, it's been crazy. Lots of new pre-orders, lots of cool, like well, we've got new name-only reveals. We've got Hiya Toys kicking off this week. His tanks are now on their way. Oh my goodness, Pete, I'm freaking out about that. That's going to be insane. Definitely doing an unboxing of that bad boy when it turns up. Oh my goodness. Everyone would have had theirs by then, but irrelevant. I'm still going to do it. Yeah. How big is my sweater today, Paisan? That's a good question. How big is it? It's actually, no, it is actually quite big. I mean, it keeps going and going. It gets about there. Not bad, is it? But it's a long, I like big sweaters, don't I? It's not as big as the other one I was wearing the other day, which went down to almost my knees. It was like a dress. Anyway, let's get on with this show, because we've got lots to talk about. And we do actually. We've got about 80 slides. It's ridiculous. But obviously a lot of stuff we've already covered, so it should be a bit quicker. I've got some new thoughts on things. Let's see how it goes. First up then, Hiya Toys.
Hiya Toys were at it again this week with yet another Classified Series inspired figure for their exquisite mini 4-inch line, and this time it was the turn of the shiniest headed weapons dealer of them all, Destro. The figure comes with all you would expect, as it basically mirrors the Classified Series in everything except scale. His gold pistol, large blaster, briefcase and clipped together Dio figure stand. They have thrown in some extra hands as well, something that the Classified version never had, and he also has a removable medallion and secondary belt and pistol holster. These are starting to be made available outside of the Asian market now, so happy hunting. He'll be $24.99 US and should be shipping around Q2 of 2024.
Indeed. Yes, so this was not really a shock now, because they're churning these bad boys out. We've got, I think it's 11 at the last count. I do know, because I've done a what's the word? A graphic for the end of this particular string of images. But yeah, like basically kind of like compiling all the figures that they've done so far. And it's actually quite impressive in a short period of time. And I really did think it would be Snake Eyes, Storm Shadow, maybe Cobra Commander, and that would be it. And then maybe another one they might squeeze out. But they really have gone all out here, Hiya, and they continue to do so. And the other thing is the fact that they are kind of utilizing those classified designs, and I'm talking like early classified designs, because as Pat and I discussed on last week's show, it's interesting when we talked about Major Blood, by the way. It's interesting that they're effectively using those original concepts, but then the classified series design has changed. So it's probably very unlikely that they'll continue to keep doing classified as it is in its current form. So at what point do they run out of figures? I mean, we've got Baroness. I think the Baroness with the purple hair was one that we all talked about. There's like a probably good one for them to kind of get stuck into. That would be a really good one for them to do at this scale, because it would be that original Baroness, but with the kind of purple highlights, the kind of Operation Blackout version. There's the Battle Android Trooper that Pat mentioned on the show. There are two versions of that, actually. Technically, there are four versions. There's like a heavy armor bat, and there's a regular bat, and then there's a G.I. Joe version of it. There's like a G.I. Joe, and not a bat, but it's a G.I. Joe kind of android trooper, JAT, a GAT, a G.I. Joe android trooper. And there's there's a heavy artillery one and a kind of light armor one. So, I mean, there's definitely kind of some options to kind of delve into, and there's more. Like Alley Viper's a good shout, RKW. The kind of Trooper is another good shout, like the Cobra Island Trooper. Then you've got two versions of Roadblock they could do. There's still options, definitely, but you kind of get to the point where what happens, Red Ninja actually is another good shout there, isn't it? Let's face it. I mean, I think we've all forgotten about the Red Ninja. Blue Ninjas are also, they're specific to classified. And then I suppose you've got a lot of, you've got sci-fi from Operation Blackout. You've got the Winter Jacket and Winter Sci-Fi as well, but Winter Jacket, Lady Jane and Scarlet as well. There's a lot of cool options basically still floating around. They've definitely got legs to keep going, but at some point, I do believe, Mole Rat, Akiko. I agree with these shouts as well. Rachel, that's a good shout. But I do agree with those two because they're kind of new characters that were introduced into the line in a sense. With the movie with Akiko and Mole Rat with the actual classified series. Shooter is a good one as well, because that is specific to classified, that design, because there's only two Shooter figures. And the other one, what's the other one I suppose I've mentioned them all, haven't I now? Wolf Spider. Wolf Spider, exactly. Who's afraid of the big bad wolf spider? Well, if there was, if it was a spider the size of the wolf, then yes, I would be afraid of it. Or a wolf the size of a spider. Not as scary. In actual fact, that would be really adorable. It still cause you some damage, though. Still bite you up a bit, even at the size of a spider. What am I talking about? It's irrelevant. Coming back to Hiya, they have legs in these designs, but at some point they're going to have to do something on their own kind of. They're going to have to do their own takes, aren't they? I think eventually, but still plenty to kind of delve into here. Now, the Destro shots look great. They always do really well with these kind of promo shots, but we have seen them and I've taught them to death. There's not much else to really go into here because Destro is Destro. We've seen this iteration of the character numerous times now. Now, I did use the term evergreen recently because originally Hasbro had these designs, like you see them on the website, you see them on Operation Blackout, you see them in other media, you see them in the Titan figures, you see them all over the place in different iterations, website, Instagram early on, that kind of weird, and then like on promotional materials, whenever they do a live event, you'll see like that Duke, or you'll see a Cobra Commander or what have you. All that kind of artwork and stuff went into what they wanted to be G.I. Joe sort of evergreen at that point, if that makes sense. Now, evergreen is just that horrible marketing term they use as like this is what the kind of designs will be for this iteration of the period of time that we're in. And then anything else or everything else that kind of goes away from that is sort of like, like a different iteration of the brand or a different version of the brand. So in a sense, these kind of like concepts that they're utilizing at the moment, and I love the fact that they go into like artwork concept stuff as well, like that beachhead with the kind of gray elements on him. I really enjoyed that too. So Yeah, because that was going to be the original kind of plan. They were going to do these evergreen kind of designs. That kind of changed when the classified series started kind of, going in a different direction. Because effectively that is the sort of barometer. That's the leader, let's say, for the G.I. Joe kind of brand at the moment. Obviously, I mean, it goes without saying, two massive HasLab successes beyond, I think what anyone's expectations, especially the kind of speed with which they kind of fulfilled that. In any case, that was kind of like the early idea. Now, of course, that's changed. And let's face it, the G.I. Joe designs sort of are evergreen, like the vintage ones, like we've come back to that anyway. So it just shows you how timeless a lot of those designs are. And interestingly enough, I would have to argue, as much as I liked some of those early kind of classified figures, including Destro, and Destro probably not so much, because he's still very similar to his original. It's just that textures and panels and stuff are slightly different. But like the original kind of like Duke, Scarlet, Roadblock, etc., they all kind of have a certain style that I think aged pretty quick. Like the Duke's design, I think what they did in terms of the deco for the Duke on the Tiger Force version covered a lot of that, kind of some of the design up. And I love that figure. But I do feel like this new retro version of Duke is not like necessarily. I do feel like it was wanted by a lot of people. I do feel like the Scarlet was also wanted by a lot of people. Because the Scarlet as well, I have to say, as much as I love that figure, it has aged a little bit. And I think it's that, the superhero kind of costume design is what I'll go with Scarlet. When you have that kind of design, you look at some old Avengers movies, old kind of Marvel kind of movies in that kind of phase 1, phase 2 kind of era. The kind of designs on the costumes, they do kind of age a little bit. And then, they change them up quite often. Captain America's gone through like multiple different phases of play. Iron Man had, I don't know how many Mark versions. I mean, that was getting to ridiculous levels of just, it's like they just drew a new one and were like, yeah, we'll use that. Drew another one, let's use that as well. Let's use all 12 of these. It was like crazy. So I feel like, you have to you either have to kind of keep reinventing it to kind of keep up, to kind of not look as dated, or you have to do something that's got more timeless quality. And it's weird, but those vintage figures, those vintage versions of Joe's, there aren't many that I think there aren't many that are dated, when you kind of bring them into the kind of like classified kind of series. Yes, you can update some elements of them. Absolutely. Grunt is a great like example of the updates done right on a figure that was quite bland originally. Not taking away from Grunt fans. And of course, I love that Grunt figure as well, but it doesn't have as much of a nostalgic feel. Like, it doesn't have much of a nostalgic pull for me, because I kind of didn't have that figure as a kid. But I still thought it was awesome and saw the cartoon and loved the cartoon and read the comics and loved the comics. So that Grunt design was still prominent. But in terms of like what they've done with the classified Grunt now, it's like an amazing figure. So like that is like an example of kind of switching it up, but not looking dated. And I would say Duke and Scarlet are good examples of maybe looking a little bit dated now in terms of those first versions. But like I said, we're getting that is a fix that's coming in to play. We've already got like that wonderful heavy artillery Roadblock, which again, I love that first version of Roadblock in the classified series that was homaging version 2. But again, I think if they were to do a retro version of that, although how many Roadblocks would we have with a retro version and the inevitable, there's got the inevitable Tiger Force version. Like, how many versions would we end up with? It'd be phenomenal. Anywho, coming back to Destro, there isn't really much to kind of go into, is there? Like I said, I've already kind of gone through this quite often. But what I will have a look at, We've seen these images quite a lot. Tripwire is a good shout as well, Rachel. Actually, that figure is, I wouldn't say the design's dated, but the figure was definitely, it was definitely like certain aspects of it were under par, but more so in the quality of the execution of the figure, not so much the design. The design's kind of cool, but the classified version, just, yeah, classified, Tripwire, and Grunt are great examples of the updates done so well, so well. In any case, these are all the figures they've brought out so far. And when I did this graphic, I thought, actually, that's a lot more than I gave it credit for. But yes, Snake Eyes, and in this order, Snake Eyes, Storm Shadow, Cobra Commander, Beachhead, Flint, Firefly, Lady J, Major Blood, and now Destro. Quite impressive so far, if you ask me. And a couple of things I'll add on this one as well. I don't think Cobra Commander is really a classified version, is he? I mean, obviously the kind of the body is effectively the retro carded version that's coming with the HasLab Hiss, and inevitably with the retro series in general. But like in terms of the head, that is more like Resolute style. It's kind of like it's almost like they took a load of different versions of that Cobra Commander and that's what they came up with. So other than that one, the rest are straight up classified kind of vibes. The Snake Eyes, I think, is still for me a figure that will not look dated. The Lenny's design of that Snake Eyes version 1, or the 00, the deluxe Snake Eyes, which has been utilized a number of times since, is awesome. I love that design. I just think it's phenomenal. And it kind of like for a while, my top Snake Eyes, weirdly enough, I think was the Retaliation Snake Eyes design, because I thought that was absolutely gorgeous and the figures were really good. The Hot Toys Retaliation Snake Eyes was phenomenal. So much so that it was used in product photography that's then been used in like movie kind of things, because people think it's a screenshot from the film, which is hilarious. So if you get like any movie news, Snake Eye, that's a Snake Eyes image from the Hot Toys Snake Eyes Retaliation figure was always used. And I always thought it was really funny that, obviously like different news sources wouldn't realize that or wouldn't care, because it still did exactly what it said on the tin. I think that Retaliation Snake Eyes was number one for me for so long. And then that 00 Deluxe kind of took... It's definitely a level pegging for me in terms of the design of Snake Eyes. I think they're both really, really good. And I've got to say, I was really into that Storm Shadow design when the website kind of stuff came out. I think we first saw it. I want to say we first saw that Snake Eyes before they started officially revealing it on their official channels. It was on the what's it called? It was the Malaysian. Do you remember the Malaysian, not water park? It was like an adventure camp. The Malaysian adventure camp. They were really pushing this Malaysian adventure camp before COVID hit. And then COVID hit and it was like, ugh, bugger. And it just seemed to go completely down the tubes, including the water park aspect. But the adventure camp had a Facebook page, and we would follow it. And obviously they posted some official Hasbro website imagery, which included that Storm Shadow. And everyone was going nuts because it was like the first time they'd seen it. And then we started seeing the Storm Shadow on their Instagram page, and they started posting other images of it, and it was on the website and all that kind of stuff. So it was kind of donned the website Storm Shadow for so long. And then it was kind of taken up as the Operation Blackout Storm Shadow, because he appeared in Operation Blackout sans the tattoo. But I really dug the design and I really loved the tattoo. And I thought, oh, this is going to be cool. So I'm really happy that Hiya took it upon themselves to do that version for their 4-inch line. So yeah, that's kind of cool and a really nice and kind of, it's nice. And I know Pat and I have talked about this as well, but it's really nice when a figure makes it into the brand when it didn't look like it was going to make it into the brand. And so that's one of them. And of course it kind of did make it into, to some extent, there was a Titan figure with some of those aspects of design involved. There was it the Storm? No, I don't think, was it, what Storm Shadow was it? Did we get a Storm Shadow for the little mini Dollar General figures? I can't even remember. Anyway, it doesn't matter, but I'm sure I'll remember. I actually had them in my hands the other day, and I looked at them. Prosthetic leg Snake Eyes, Rachel, was a concept for the computer, the AAA computer game. I would imagine they've gone a different route now, but that was, yeah, those two screenshots of kind of like the first-person shooter AAA game that had Snake Eyes in both shots. One with the close-up showing his prosthetic limbs, and then one with one within the distance where he's attacking that Hiss tank mech. That would have been a really cool Snake Eyes for sure. But that was concept designed by artists working on the AAA game at Wizards of the Coast. Yeah, so Beachhead, again, that was another cool example. Again, I've mentioned it before, but they incorporated elements from his artwork on the back of the boxes. Oh yeah, thank you. Stephen just said congrats on 150. Yeah, this is episode 150 of the weekly. Do you know what? We'd have got there a lot sooner if Pat and I stopped like cancelling it or postponing it for like a couple of months, a while back. But yeah, thank you very much, Stephen. I appreciate that, mate. Yeah, not really doing anything massively spectacular. But yeah, just me talking. There you go. That's the celebration. But yeah, I love the fact they did that with Beachhead. So that made him slightly different. Flint, I'm still on the fence about, and I think mainly it's the head sculpt. And if I see an image and the head sculpt's a little bit better, I'll probably change my mind. But it looks kind of funky. Firefly looks great, and I love the fact again that they followed that first version of the figure from the classified series with the big kind of gear and everything. Lady J looks good, but again, the head sculpt I'm a little on the fence on. They seem to do better with the more like I don't know, like heavy characteristics masks, or like Major Blood, for example. Like that head sculpt is awesome because you can you can really do some kind of messed up things with the missing eye scenario, the scars, that kind of thing, the tash. There's a lot of stuff going on with that face, but with Flint and Jay, you kind of have to really focus on bringing the essence of the character out with two, kind of standard head sculpts. You know what I mean? So yeah, I feel that I'm hoping that we see a little bit better from those two. And then of course Destro, which we've seen recently. Love the alt Chuckles shirt pattern, Wreckship. Yeah, well, Wreckship, this was last year's fall pattern. I thought I'd give Brian a break of having to do new graphics all the time. These are Brian's graphics again, by the way. Shout out to Brian Sauer. But this is actually a Chuckles figure from the 50th anniversary, I believe, and he did get this kind of design. So yeah, it does exist in the brand of GI Joe already. But it is nice that it is the Chuckles vibe in it. Anyway, that's Hiya. Hiya. Let's get into. There's going to be a lot to talk about in the next segment. And I've been talking for 23 minutes on Hiya Toys. So I don't know what's going to happen here, but it's going to be long. And I hope everyone's, Kitty said, and I hope everyone's ready for it. It's classified.
Classified fans have been well and truly spoiled over the past week with yet another batch of rather significant pre-orders. Both 1027 and MCM London gave us reveals for a bevy of higher price point items, including Clutch and the VAMP during Friday's 1027 collector event, and Deluxe Metalhead and Mutt and Junkyard for MCM London. We even got two new name-only reveals in Raptor and Iron Grenadiers, which got the fans talking. In addition to all of that, the HasLab Hiss tank has begun its journey to backers starting in France, and US backers received address confirmation emails suggesting that shipping will begin for them around November the 24th. Exciting stuff indeed.
Yeah, exciting stuff indeed. I will also add that the UK have started getting those emails as well, I think as of today. Shout out to everyone that's been messaging me about that today. I'm like, thanks guys. It's awesome though, and I know everyone's excited. I am truly, I won't describe what I was going to say then. I'm just truly excited. And there we have it. But anyway, let's start with the classified pre-order trifecta. And of course, LeVamp, not the Vamp at all. That was the worst segue ever. No, let's talk name-only reveals first, you idiot. Anyway, that was funny, wasn't it? Paisano says that background music is fire. Thank you, Paisano. I do all the music myself, And I even throw WORDBURGLAR a bone every now and again as well. Speaking of which, keep an eye open this weekend for some interesting news coming out of Assembly Required. What could it be? Chris, do you happen to know if the front tyre is on the VAMP turn left and right? That was the one thing I didn't see Lenny demonstrate, so I have a feeling they don't. Do you know what? I don't know. I don't know. I think, like, you know, if they'd have done like the steering wheel as well, like kind of proper oar striker it up, that would have been really cool. But I don't know, unfortunately. Let me, because this will be a question he can answer, obviously. I'll just quickly message him, and if by the end of the show he gets back to us, then brilliant. Oh, thanks, Mr. Roper, for sending me those images as well. You asked the question, and then I also saw a message from you on Instagram. Cool. Let me ask Lenny what is going on in here. Hey, Lenny. Why would I do that? Hey is fine. So this is live, by the way. Do the VAMP's front wheels turn pivot? Do the VAMP's front wheels? I'll just turn left and right. That makes more sense, sort of. Hopefully he'll get back to us. There you go. It's in the ether. Only time will tell. Anyway, didn't Big Ben get revealed at last year's MCM? I was kind of disappointed that an English character wasn't revealed this year, Rachel. Yeah, I guess they're probably like, yeah, okay, so, well, I think it really matters on the line plan, doesn't it? And also, I would imagine that, you know, the whole year's product in 6 months had something to do with that too, and the way it lined up with the show. Adam, the tires are, well, they're squidgy and can be removed, so they are basically rubber. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if they said explicitly rubber, but maybe some sort of soft plastic that isn't like all the way rubber. But yeah, they are softer and squidgier, and they do come off, so you can, you know, switch them around. Yeah. Oh, that's true, actually, Scott. Yeah, from the way they connect and the build of the wheel wells, I would think that they do not turn. Good point, Scott. And that's yeah, hopefully he'll tell us anyway. Yeah, Buzzer's a good shout, Leon. Buzzer kind of works as the British, as an English character. Yeah, so with MCM last year, we got Big Ben and we got name only Shadow Tracker and Mole Rats. We got Big Ben and we got the Valkyries revealed, didn't we? As Big Ben and the Valkyries as renders, which was really cool. I think it just lined up nicely. It would have been nice for them to kind of line up maybe I don't know, like some sort of Palatoy kind of what's the word? Homage. That would have been kind of fun. But from what I can see coming down the pike, I don't think there was anything necessarily appropriate for that, for MCM, if you know what I mean. I don't, like, when I say appropriate, I mean an English character is what I'm saying. I don't mean you know, it was naughty or something. No, like, yeah, so effectively I think that's why that's the case. So anyway, coming back to the name only reveals, these get added, Raptor now and Iron Grenadiers. I do have a graphic, but I forgot to put it in. Although then again, I was doing it for something else, and then it exists. But there's a whole graphic with all name only reveals, which is nice and fun to see. But now this, yeah, adds to the list of Jinx. Right, let's see if I can remember this. Jinx, Doc, Alpine, Retro Beachhead for the Joes. Retro Eels, Retro Snow Serpent, Raptor Grenadiers, and then you've Raptor Iron Grenadiers. Then you've got Norgahide, Ferret with Trooper. You've got Torch, and here's the other one. I think there's another one. I could just look at the graphic I just made, which would make things so much easier. And it's Night Creeper. Duh. I've literally, you'll laugh at this, guys, I've literally recorded the Vox just before coming onto this live stream for Let's Talk Classified Night Creepers, and that was the one I forget. Brilliant. So, yeah, lots of cool name onlys floating around. Let's talk Raptor and the Iron Grenadiers. Now, what can we tell you? Well, we'll be doing another kind of like decoded sort of situation very soon. I might do a live episode and do a couple of decodeds I'll just do that maybe next week. So Raptor, we know, is going to be a deluxe figure, and that's the $34.99 price point deluxe style figure. So don't know what he's going to come with, but I think we can safely say his wing's going to be pretty cool. He's probably going to come with a Raptor or like a bird or two, maybe multiples. Or it just might be the one bird and then lots of gear that he comes with as well. Because like I said, it would be the same kind of thing as like Snow Serpent or Tripwire or Snow Job. So I think there's going to be a significant amount of cool stuff that he comes with. How funny would it be if he comes with a desk, right, that he can do his finances on with lots of like office supplies, and then they reuse the desk, retool it for heavy duties machine guns. And I only use heavy duty because that whole trademark thing that popped up a few months back now. But so Raptor, we can say Raptor. I call him Raptor. Some people call him Raptor. It depends if you're in the Masters of the Universe mindset or not. But Raptor is going to be a deluxe figure, and that is pretty cool. I think they're going to do a phenomenal job on this figure. I'm really excited to see what they include with it. Like I said, all I know is those elements. I don't know what he's going to come with. And of course, he's going to come with his bird or multiples. I kind of would like it if he came with a few, because then it would be like a little falconry. I think that'd be really neat. But Talon has to be in there, and they'd have to be given names too, wouldn't they? So Talon is one, because that's on his file card. Not file card, it's on the front of the card on the side of where the text is to tell you what his stuff he comes with. A perch, Leon, absolutely is a good shout. Will Raptor come with an abacus? I like that, Rachel. Deluxe Raptor with laptop and his framed tax account degree. I like that one too, Jeremy. Good vibes here. I take all of these as accessories. Is that weird? Probably a bit weird. I'd imagine that the head's going to be insane, isn't it? It's going to be a headdress. It's probably going to be removable. It's going to be like real Zartan vibes, that head. Obviously, the Zartan as well from was it Rise of Cobra, Pursuit of Cobra, Rise or Pursuit in that era when it was effectively Raptor, wasn't it? But it was Zartan. I'm just really excited for this one. I know Raptor is one of those kind of like, what's the word? I wouldn't even say like. It's an acquired taste, but that might not be the right term. It's one where I just get like really good vibes when I think of how good the G.I. Joe Collectors Club did Raptor for the modern 4-inch. And that was like a theme where the club would do certain characters that you didn't really give a crap about before. And then all of a sudden they did a figure, updated it into the 4-inch, and it was always so good. And like Raptor's one of those. There's so many others, but Raptor really stands out to me as a really solid figure. So I just know that when I'm applying that same kind of thing to Classified. When they do a Classified version of a character, it usually just blows everything out of the blooming water, man. So really excited for that. I think Jinx has a finance background, says Leon. She does. She's a finance clerk on her secondary military specialty. I did a video of her, Let's Talk Classified Jinx, very recently, but I knew that anyway because it was a big kind of thing. They made a major point of her kind of secondary military specialty in a UK annual only comic strip called High Finance, where she infiltrates Mars, one of the Mars buildings that Destro's in, and she has to contend with Crocmaster, Big Boa, a bunch of troopers. She takes them all out. It's amazing. And then she gets to the top of the building. She works her way up this building, and she gets into the office. And she just basically, all she's doing is she's taking loads of data and information for tax audit, basically. And then she jumps out the window and says, say hi to Destro for me. And then Destro sees on his computer. It's a really good little story, and you can check it out on Blood for the Baron. High Finance. And I really, it was very prominent that Jinx was, that was her secondary military specialty because of those things in the UK. Falcons generally have all female names, says Diana. That's a cool, interesting point. Talon could be female though. And yeah, I suppose it's more generic Talon, isn't it? Because it just means like, claw. So I'm excited to see what they do. I'm excited to see what they do with Raptor big time because of that. And yeah, Jinx and Raptor head to head coming out at similar times. There's got to be some sort of like nod to that. They've done a frozen fudgy for blooming Quick Kick. They could at least do, at least do like a file or something. And to be honest, they could just reutilize the briefcase and file from Chuckles, and that would work with Raptor, I think. Personally, I don't have to go too crazy. Just change the deco on it, change the information, and keep the briefcase and the file as is. And I think that would be freaking awesome. Do it. Throw it in there. It's Raptor. He's got to have a briefcase and some files. Defo. With the Iron, Jeffrey says, with the Iron Grenadier intro, name only reveal, guess we know what SDCC will be. Iron Grenadier Destro with this spoiler. That would be phenomenal, Jeffrey. I'm not aware either way, by the way, of that. But I feel like Destro and the Despoiler has to happen soon. And I would do a nod, wink, wink. But honestly, like I said, haven't heard hide nor hair of Destro and the Despoiler yet. But you never know. We'll do an episode next week, and I might be going like that. But no, not this. In this case, I have not heard about that. But it's got to happen, hasn't it? A figure vehicle couldn't be more perfect for that price point with that Destro and the Despoiler, especially with all the Iron Grenadiers chat that's going on at the moment. Metalhead, Iron Grenadiers, that would be perfect. And throw a couple more in there. Give us a Voltar, give us a Sergeant Major, that was the one I missed out last time. Give us a Darklon, give us an Undertow, give us an Undertow officer, female, give us a Targat, an Annihilator, all those bad boys. Wild Boar, yeah? Give us all of them, please, and thank you very much. I tell you what, you just mentioned that figure 6-pack. Jinx, Chuckles teams up to take on Raptor and the Crimson Twins. I like that. Crimson Twins in suits would be a really, really good, like, con-exclusive 2-pack sort of situation. Sexy packaging, same head sculpts, different bodies and all that kind of, that would be so dope. So dope. Leon's written Despoiler alert. I love that. Goldhead Destro is inevitable. I agree. Need Voltar. General Mayhem. Thank you, Rachel. There's another one I missed out. Yeah, General Mayhem's a good shout too. And then obviously Iron Grenadier Heavy Artillery, Iron Grenadier Winter Operations. Yes, please. All of that stuff. Just bring it on. So yeah, Iron Grenadier is an exciting one. I'm really excited to see what they do, especially with the head sculpt, the sword and all that kind of jazz too. Like really just, yeah, cannot wait. And we're bound to see, I mean, we've got so many digital renders that are outstanding right now. And I mean, not currently standing, not as in outstanding, as in, they're not there yet. Like I said before, you've got all those name only reveals that are floating around currently. You've got you've got Alpine, Doc, Jinx, you've Retro Beachhead still. We need to see, that's going to be a new figure effectively. Night Creeper, Torch, Cobra Ferret with Trooper, Norgahide. The Eels and the Snow Serpents, I'm going to just go out on a limb and say they're probably going to be more or less the same. Maybe some slight deco variation on the Snow Serpent to make more blue than the darker kind of blue they've got on their packs and strapping and everything. And probably more retro accessories, I'd imagine. Same with the Eels. I can't really see what else they're going to do with the Eels, honestly. And then, of course, Iron Grenadiers and Raptor. I think there's just so many cool, renders that we've got to look forward to. And then, go through that process, the renders, the figure reveal, the pre-order, all that good stuff. Said Undertow and said Annihilator. Yeah, awesome stuff. So that is Raptor and Iron Grenadiers as name only reveals. Very excited for both of those. I bet if you're an Iron Grenadiers fan as well, you must be stoked now that they're finally making it out. Let's face it, it's going to be year 4 because Metalhead won't be delivered until 2024. So it's effectively we've had Metalhead revealed in 2023, but in terms of getting it in hand, the Iron Grenadiers are 2024. So is what I'm trying to get out there. No response from Lenny yet. He's letting me down here. I'm kidding. He's also probably working in the middle of it. Probably working on on Iron Grenadiers as we speak. Jeffrey thinks Eels will get a different gun and backpack, most likely. Thing is, though, I mean, yeah, they could go really vintage and just almost exactly the same backpack and weapon they got back then. But will they do that is my question. Or will they just use it as an opportunity to give people more options to buy them for army building purposes and to have one on a retro card? I think they'd be looking at that figure to be the least they do with a retro release, honestly, because you've got new tooling in Duke. I mean, like ultimately new tooling in Duke and Scarlet. Beachhead's going to have new stuff too. We know I'm not going to say anything, but we know he's going to have new stuff, right? Snow Serpent is the most likely to get the reissued sort of vintage, like, what's the word? Accessories and deco. So I think Eels is one that they'll do that is just, there you go, it's the Eels. It's how he came before, but he's on a retro card. That's what I think they're probably going to do with that. I could be wrong. Quite often am with my speculative thinking. But that's what I would expect. And if I'm putting my Hasbro hat on, this is not a Hasbro hat, but if I put my Hasbro hat on, that's where I feel that line would go. I mean, Recondo is another one you could probably argue is just a repaint, but there's still a lot of things going on there. With an Eel, you could literally get away with it just being completely basic. So yeah, that's what I'm kind of getting at with that one. But I would like to see that, Jeffrey. I would like to see the Eels retro figure come with different stuff, just to make it more interesting for people that already have an Eel or 12 or 40. I know someone bought 40 of them. That's insane. Yes, Scott, Lady J, they did, obviously, Lady J, Gung Ho, they got, okay, put it in this perspective then. Lady J, Gung Ho, and Snake Eyes got reissued sort of vintage exclusive gear, but Destro, Baroness, and Zartan didn't. Storm Shadow got like a deco change, and he got slightly different wrist gauntlets, minor deco change, I would add, and some other. So if you take that line plan into your thinking, Crimson Guard was a slight repaint as well. Then they will look at the retro to do that in some cases and not do in others. So that's what I'm getting at. Put your Hasbro hat on and think of it that way. Eel will get new equipment. I've spoken. This is the way, says Retro Romans. Fine. We'll go with that. I'm happy to be wrong if I'm wrong, by the way. Happy to be wrong. Anyway, let's move on because we had loads to talk about here. VAMP. Now, I've got some more images from the VAMP because obviously the ones I looked at before were the ones that Shooting the Galaxy had done, but then Hasbro had posted on their site almost like that day. So I got like a load more images off the Hasbro actual, upload the link on their Hasbro Pulse site. So some good stuff to kind of check out. The box looks great. Obviously that, we're really getting this new window packaging come into play. And I will say, I am so happy with the packaging direction that they are effectively appeasing both fans of the previous packaging, which genuinely I loved that previous packaging. I love that switch and the new style and the render kind of artwork like we're seeing at the moment on the front here, but then also the call outs, the art, the other kind of figure artwork, and then you flip it around and you got the kind of call outs and you've got the kind of like figure and loadout sort of layout thing. So I'm really truly happy that they've found a way to kind of do both. And with the vehicles, you can kind of just have a little window for the figure just like the old, vintage figures, which I think is a really nice kind of touch there. I really do like that. Leon, they have revealed Jellied Eel as a UK character. Jellied eels would be so funny. Just the color of jello, I don't know, hilarious. I do, like I said, I'm going to say it, I do prefer the previous what's the word, packaging, but I like the fact that we're getting a little bit of both now. I really do. And this vamp, man, just get out. It's so good. So good. Zooming in to the package art, though, and we can obviously see the ferret in the background, with it, what is clearly going to be some sort of Valkyrie repaint, I think, on the as the driver, which is great, isn't it? I'm really happy to see the Valkyries getting another utilization here, and also that you can make out quite a lot going on here. One, we've got a great shot of the helmet in another image further down, so we've had a great look at that. Imagine that on a Valkyrie figure with a different secondary, and I think you've probably got what the ferret driver is going to look like. That would be my guess, honestly, here. Yeah, so I'm gonna that's where I think we're going in terms of that. I have had a change of heart, however, on another image that was in the images, another kind of background homage or Easter egg is what I really should say. And that we'll get to that in a second, but I've definitely changed my mind on that based on better images, close-ups, and really kind of like giving it thought. We'll talk about that in a moment. Chris says the vamp is so worth $100. I don't know why so many people are complaining about the price. People will always complain about the price, but I can't see how else you're going to get a vamp. $100 is insane. Like, that is like so not. So I was really surprised because again, we got that information last year actually. So we had the vamp and clutch, it was coming, it was yada yada yada, and they even had the price on it, which was $99.99, and I was like, that's going to change. There's no way. Or the vamp's going to be just a shell, really basic kind of shell, and but no, it's like they went above and beyond and kept. You can't complain about it. That's what that is going to cost you. And to be honest, the pricing on classified has really surprised me. The only problem I have is there's too much of it. So if the pricing was the same, but there was less, volume at the moment, I would be well on top of it, of everything. As is, it's just a situation where, and of course, buying a house on top of that, that's going to, really kind of cause issues. But the pricing on classified is phenomenally good. Retros are still like, what, $19, $20 or whatever. Like the actual card, the box figures, $24.99. The fact they can still do mainline for $24.99, and they've managed to keep that low despite that whole like period where it was like the prices are going to go up, and they did, and then everyone thought, well, it's going to be $27 next, it's going to be $30. It stayed at $24.99 for ages, and yeah, they've done other price points, and they've done but again, like you're getting your money's worth now. The Kamakura was, and I think they'd agree on this one, was not worth the extra money in terms of what you got with it. Tripwire is, Snow Job is, etc., etc. And I'm sure there'll be a price increase next year, Super Saiyan, but like that's life, isn't it? Honestly, and I think they've done really well to really hold it back, genuinely. And $100 for a vamp. They even gave us a Python Patrol Trouble Bubble by accident for about $10 less, or however much it was less. It was hilarious, but that was a mistake. Oh, I've drunk the Kool-Aid, have I, Lon? Is that the case? Amazing. Well, okay then. No, that's fine. If you're going to insult me, that's totally cool. Like it's the truth, though. I'm sorry. It's like it is. Like I said, volume is the problem, not like the current pricing. Is what it is. Look at the others. Like everything else is like way beyond that. But no, that's fine. I've drunk Kool-Aid. Well done. I'll tell you what, if that's how you feel, you don't have to watch, do you? You don't have to listen to me pumping Kool-Aid into your veins. God, no. God forbid I am like excited and like, you know, I like this line. God forbid that. Anyway, yeah, moving on. Thanks for that long line. You've really made me feel awesome. Appreciate it. Anyway, okay. Honestly, if I never see you in the comments again, great. Moving along, I'm going to move on to the next image, which is the back of the packaging. So like I said before, this is kind of like, it's different with the vehicles, obviously, because in terms of like the figures, right? In terms of the figures, that's had to make a big change. With the vehicle stuff, it's just a tiny window to show a figure. I don't think they had to do a window necessarily. I don't think they had to do that with the vehicles, but it's cool that they did. And with this one, again, you get the best of both worlds, and you get the info on the back, the loadout and everything, and the call outs, which is pretty cool. I can't believe they fit all that on the box. That's nuts. Anyway, that's that. These are other images that kind of popped up too, that I didn't share before because they weren't available to me at the time. But these are, again, kind of give us a really nice look at the vehicle and figure on a white background, which is nice and clear and kind of, what's the word? I don't know, pronounced. So you get to see it a little bit better than in some of the other shots, which are kind of like close-ups and side shots and everything, but you don't really get to see the vehicle nicely. Continue to keep doing it. Brilliant. Just bugger off, mate. Seriously. Just go. And then you've got the this kind of like reverse shot here, again showing more details of the back and everything. And yeah, it's just, I tell you what, it's not triggering. What it is it just kind of like, it just takes me, you know, just takes all the wind out of my sails. Do you know what I mean? It's like if you imagine enjoying something and someone constantly having a go at it, it's just like, it just takes the excitement and the fun out of it, is what I'm saying. It's not triggering. It's like, I don't know, just call it what you want, I guess. Call it what you want. But is what it is. Everyone needs to relax and have a beer, enjoy the weekend. Yes, Retro, go for it. Everyone, enjoy whatever you want to enjoy, or hate whatever you want to hate. It's totally fine. But I think the directing it at people, like saying like, well, you're wrong for this and you're wrong for that, and you're clearly like, an idiot for thinking this or whatever. That's where it kind of gets a little bit off with me. Like, I'm all for like constructive criticism. I've had plenty on this channel if you actually watch any episodes. But like, I just think in terms of the pricing that we have at the moment, we're doing well, is all I'm getting at. That's all I'm saying. I'm also at the same time, may I add, also saying that I cannot keep up. I can't afford it at the moment. I'm also saying that, but because it's volume rather than what, like I said, if it was coming out in like, yeah, move on. I'm just going to move on. It's just going to pee me off for the rest of it. It's already annoyed me for the rest of the day. So thanks for that. Yeah, much appreciated. Good work. I'm just going to go through these images now. There's another nice one. There's another nice image showing details of a vehicle that's overpriced and everyone hates. There's another one of another vehicle and figure that's overpriced and everyone hates for some strange reason. I mean, you could always like compare it to other things on the market in terms of price, but I suppose that isn't worth doing either. There's a back shot of Clutch, lols, but then you get to see the details on the secondary and all that kind of good stuff, so brilliant. Then we get to the sexy shooting the galaxy images, and yeah, it's just some nice stuff going on here. Again, shooting the galaxy does amazing work. Some things I hadn't noticed prior, though, did pop out to me. And this is something that, because I didn't notice before, I'd never noticed it before. Stupid for not noticing it, but it was, I'll go through them and see when we get to it. There's another shot of him working on the engine as well, which is really cool. And you can really see that tattoo on the right forearm there, which is really nice as well. I love the fact that you get the engine come out, the engine block comes out, and they didn't show it, but that is something that will happen. And I also I want to say that it might be in multiple pieces, not loads, but not just one block. I'm not sure about that though. We were told early on that it was an engine that would come out and, you break up into different bits. They may have changed. That was early on though. So it may have changed. It might just be one block at this point. Then we've got this hilarious shot, which is him effectively was he burying the Cobra, the ferret driver, burying the helmet? Is it as dark as it appears that he is just literally just taking out the ferret driver and is burying it? I don't know. But it's, awesome. And there's a really nice close-up of that helmet, which we've seen kind of from multiple angles now. We've seen from the back, kind of like in the silhouette form, and we've seen now in kind of way more detail here as well. Yeah, and then this is another nice kind of shot as well, because it really shows you the details in the console area. And this is, again, when it's I wasn't expecting we'll talk about the price again, but for that price point, I wasn't expecting so much detail on the, what's it called? On the dashboard. I was expecting more of a kind of I don't know, just more basic, just not much going on, maybe one tampo or whatever. But there's a lot kind of going on. And I really like that kind of 80s, almost mask intro screen that's happening on there too. That's really neat as well. Yeah, what else? Then we get, again, this is another nice shot, very dusty kind of vibe, without Dusty in the shot as well. Maybe he's off to the side somewhere. I don't know. And this one is a good one too. Now this is, we still haven't got to the point of something that I didn't notice before, by the way. We'll get to that very shortly. But I did want to take a close-up shot here of what is obviously in the passenger seat, the 60th anniversary Action Soldier, which is really cool. And obviously has the darker skin tone head option, which is pretty dope too. And obviously, just for those that weren't aware, I'm not sure if anyone was, I'm pretty sure everyone knew what was going on here, but that is effectively what we're looking at there. Beep, 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 beep. Pretty cool. And I like that vibe as well. It's really awesome addition. And I cannot wait to see more 60th anniversary stuff, because that stuff looks phenomenal. That really does look phenomenal. And look at all the stuff you get with it. Just nuts. Absolutely insanity. Absolute insanity. Right. Now this, believe it or not, is the image I looked at and was like, I didn't notice that before. And I'm not talking about the obvious thing of a cheeky character blurred out in the background. No, I'm talking about the steel core helmet he comes with. Now, I don't know why I didn't notice this before. Maybe just hadn't given it enough kind of, really enough attention. But I didn't realize there were etched, heads-up display markings on the visor. Isn't that dumb? I think I maybe just assumed it was going to be a tampo, or because I'm pretty sure I noticed it on the render, but I thought it was going to be a tampo or something. But that is literally carved out in the sculpt, kind of heads-up display sort of stuff in the steel core helmet, which I think is a really cool little addition. Really like that. Love the little mouth on it as well. That's so cool. Yeah, really neat helmet, this one. And the fact that it's a helmet too is kind of a little bit crazy, because, and just, just again, because sorry, just trying to multitask. But yeah, I think, I think there's a lot of cool stuff on that helmet. For one, it's so much different than the other steel core helmets. That's another thing, isn't it? They've done steel core helmets now, and you just think they're just going to reuse that and stick it somewhere else and repaint it. But no, we've got a whole helmet here that goes on over multiple different heads. So it's not just what's his monkey? It's not just Clutch that's going to have to wear it. I mean, loads of figures can wear this, so that's really cool. Anyway, yeah, love that Shiz. Next up, there's of the obvious. Now, this is where my heart has changed. And I know a lot of people were saying in the comments last time I was talking about it, they were saying, it's the Stinger driver. It's a Stinger driver. And I genuinely do think it is also a Stinger driver. When I first saw it, I was just thinking, they're not going to throw that in as well, surely. Like, but, you know, I was thinking like the ferrets on the horizon, we've had name drops and all that kind of stuff. We've even had it called out on the artwork that we've seen very close up already on this particular vehicle and so on and so forth. But, and I did think because of that we were looking at a ferret driver and it was just blurry and what have you. But no, the more I look at it, the more I'm definitely seeing a Stinger driver here. Like, it looks like Cobra Trooper-ish. If you look really closely, it might be hard to see on this particular image I've got here, but if you look really closely, you can almost see like a red blur on the chest, which, you know, screams to me like it could be the Cobra sigil. It looks gray, it looks blue, it looks black, and it looks like it's holding some sort of red and black situation, which could be, going out on a limb here, but could be something that they've taken off of something else that could be red and black, say maybe a Stinger, for example. And I know obviously you see Vamp and you think, well, the Stinger's got to come. The Tiger Sting's got to come. The Dreadnought Ground Assault's got to come. You name it, you expect to see those things in the future. Mark II is probably around the corner as well. So there's plenty of options for repaints, but you'd expect them to do a generic Cobra version of that. You know what I'm saying? You'd expect them to do the base version of the Cobra versions, and that would be the Stinger. And you've already got the trooper or the officer in this case. I don't know which one it would be. They'd probably just make it up as they went along, and then it would be visually a trooper, but in their minds an officer. You know how it is with the Viper officer situation now, the trooper officer situation, especially if we talk in Python Patrol. Oh my goodness. Like, pick a lane. We joked about it on the interview and everything, but it was an error and it was one they couldn't catch in time, but still funny and love it. Anyway, so yeah, I think it's going to be, and I think we're looking at the Stinger driver here. I genuinely do. So yeah. It's a Cobra Eel, says Brian. Actually, it's not a bad shout. But yeah, that's what I think it's going to be. And do I think a Stinger and driver are coming in the future? Yes, I do. But I think they're coming really soon? I didn't think so. But there's definitely something on the horizon with the Stinger and the Stinger driver. So I think the more I look at it, the more I think, okay, that's probably what they've Easter egged there. Anyway, it will be a warrant officer, says DGD Hype Productions. Yeah, let's just give it a completely different designation, just to throw another spanner, a wrench or spanner in the works, whatever you like, wherever you're from, whatever you like to throw in the works. Let's just throw one of those in the works. So anyway, we come back to this shot as well, and we can kind of see a little bit, even more of the red visor kind of detailing, which I really like. I love that little antenna as well. It's another really cool touch. The fire extinguisher, all the little accessories you get with this are really cool as well. Like, just dope. Anyway, damn, we're talking for ages about the Vamp. We also got Mutt Junkyard. Yahoo! Dastardly Pet finally revealed. We've known about Dastardly Pet for ages, but have we known about Mutt Junkyard for ages? No. When did we find out about Mutt Junkyard? I don't think we did until it was revealed. Genuinely, I don't think we had that information until it showed up on the show floor at SDCC. I might be wrong on that. We might have had some sort of heads up. It's hard to remember. It really is. But in any case, Mutt Junkyard, phenomenal. Yeah, awesome stuff. There's also another figure and pet around the corner, obviously with Norgahide and his wild boar. We know that's coming, but we've had a listing for a figure and pet for well over a year now. Well over a year. And that particular listing still hasn't had anything attached to it. I think that listing is Norgahide, now that we have that information that Norgahide is coming. But we'll see, I guess. We'll see. Leon says, did I cover what's in the corner of the main vamp photo, not the pack? Looks like it's also the ferret. It's on the far right of the photo where Clutch is standing by the vamp, not the Robocop photo. Right, you're going to have to, Leon, you're going to have to help me here, mate. Main vamp photo, which is the first one, right, where he's standing next to it. That one. Oh, is there something else here that I haven't recognized or noticed? I'm sorry, I'm just gonna consult my close-up cam with my phone. Have I deleted all these pictures? No, I haven't. Oh, okay. Have I covered? It's the ferret! It's the ferret! It's 100% the ferret. It's 100% the ferret. And I didn't even notice. Can you? Yeah, look, there you go. There's the front gun of it. It's 100% the ferret. So not only does it exist not only does it exist on the box art, but it also exists in the background of that. I can't believe I've done it again. I've missed another cheeky Easter egg. A cheester egg. That is, yeah, it's definitely the ferret. It's the ferret front gun, the kind of one that's on the swivel. It's 1000% the ferret. Oh, that's so cool. Thank you, Leon, for pointing that one out, you absolute hero. So yeah, you can't really see it on this image, but it's there. It's really close. It's basically between Clutch and that rock formation. You can probably just make out the red of the gun turret on there as well. But yeah, if you have that image, or if you want to go to our Facebook page, or if you want to go to Hasbro Pulse website and look at those images, you get a good close-up of it. It's 100,012%, that exact number, the ferret, which is really cool. Thank you, Leon, for pointing that out. I never would have known that. Blitz0065 says it would be hilarious if they announced it soon. The Stinger, it would, wouldn't it? It would really be hilarious. Such a cool set, says Dan. Derek, oh, okay, sorry. Wasn't Mutt and Junkyard shown off at SDCC? Yeah, I think that's when I first saw it, because it was we saw the SDCC figures on the show floor before we saw the render. But I think that was the first time I was aware that Mutt and Junkyard. I want to say that, but then I don't know. I think that was one that snuck through. I might be wrong though. There's so much information flows through. It gets to the point where you're just like, I don't know what's real, what's top secret, and what's, not real at the end of the day. Anyway, Mutt and Junkyard. So here, I want Marauders deco, says Jeremy, of Mutt and Junkyard. Yeah, definitely. I think that would be, again, I'm not going to wink because I don't. I don't know why I say that. You all can see if I wink or not. But yeah, I think with Marauders on Mutt and Junkyard, I think it's inevitable, but I'm not aware of anything in the future. There are, however, more Marauder stuff, more Mad Marauders things on the horizon. Scott, you think the packaging looks a bit cheap now? I think it does. When you do the window, I think that ultimately you see that kind of plastic, like what's the thing behind, that plastic tray. I think that kind of always takes an edge off. But yeah, no, I totally understand what you're saying. I'm just happy that it kind of like fulfills both criteria for me personally. We still get that fun figure render with Easter eggs and all that kind of stuff, but we also get the window so that people can see what they're getting. Not how it's not getting like Schrodinger's Mutt at the end of the day. I know it's not Schrodinger's Mutt, but it's a play on words. I think the new package really reminds me of the rock packaging, says Brian. I think it reminds me of the 50th, honestly. It just has 50th vibes. Can I say the Peter Gabriel song "Shock the Monkey"? Yeah, I can't sing it though. I only do these things to show you up on your Easter egg inadequacies, Leon. I am and I love this. Is one of the things I love about it is looking at the backgrounds and everything. I that is genuinely deep cut Easter Eggingtons, isn't it? Massive Easter eggs. Love it, Leon. No, it's great. I like finding things out that I didn't know before. It's awesome. It's one of those things where you're like, darn it, I don't have a close-up image to use. But at the same time, I'm just happy that, we can talk about it now. And I can find, I've finally found it. Anyway, Mutt and Junkyard. Not mutton, Mutt and Junkyard. Now, and obviously on the back of this one, I love this. I love how Junkyard's kind of like jumping out a little bit. It's very much the card art, isn't it? Yes, it is actually. That is like spot on the card art pose. And that's something I didn't notice either. That's an homage in itself. That is spot on the card art pose. Very cool. Didn't even think about that at all. I hope Desert Clutch and Vamp Mark II won't be SDCC exclusive, says the Figure 6 pack. Yeah, I could see. I imagine that'll happen at some point. It's too an obvious home run, isn't it? Really, because it'll be like updates to the Vamp, which would be really awesome, and it would be like a redeco of that clutch, which that clutch figure is phenomenal. Yeah, sorry, we'll get to that. You lose some of the artwork. They could put the artwork in the background behind the figure. I get that retro, but they've kind of put it on the side now. That's where they put the artwork, or that's where it lives more so. Yes, it lived on the side as well in the other packaging, but that's where the artwork lives now. We still need Footloose. Yes, we do. Maybe Kevin Bacon on the side. Yeah, I'd love a Footloose because then again, you're talking Mad Marauders options as well in the future. Scott says, I'll take the Marauders, all the Marauders, just not the price bump for Slaughter again. Well, Scott, there's going to be a price. If they do a Sergeant Slaughter figure, there's going to be a price bump on it because it's licensed. There's a lot more goes into it, unfortunately. That's why kind of like, we haven't really seen a lot of, this is like a licensed thing with the classified series. And I think that's what's kept it where it is, if you know what I mean. The window will always be better because you see if you're getting a good face print or not, says Paisano. Totally. But, again, from someone that orders online, it's kind of irrelevant. I'm going to take the figure out of the box anyway. And I can't see what I'm buying in the first place. If you buy everything from, the position of in store, I kind of get it, but you hardly get any figures in store. The only figures you get in store are in Ollie's, and then you get them, marked down. But no, I get what you're saying, and again, I'm happy. I'm happy that both, I think both sides of the coin are being catered to, is what I'm getting at here. Mutton Junkyard comes with an articulated ram animal companion. That'd be funny, actually, wouldn't it, Adam? Mutton being lamb would be quite cute, wouldn't it? That would be quite cute. But yeah, ram would be amazing. Is that a crocodile or a foreign tree in the water? It's a crocodile, or I don't know, a alligator. I don't know. I do know the difference, but I'm doing that thing again where I can't remember. Anyway, yes, I'm going to just say it's Fiona. But obviously, homage is the episode Cobra's Creatures, where Junkyard is mind controlled, and turned against Mutt, and they end up being dumped. Well, they send Mutt out to escape, give him a head start into the swamp, and they send Junkyard after him and say, basically go and get him and destroy him, which is really harsh. And I really struggle with that episode because it's really sad. And you see the pain in Mutt's eyes when he's trying to talk Junkyard down and everything. It's really, really emotional. But anyway, he gets chased by a croc as well. He looks really, really scared there, but he's got his blue eyes in. Now, this is one thing that I was really hoping to see. I was hoping to see a head sculpt that had the blue eyes, because we'd also seen this homage on the Valkyries packaging, which also homages Cobra's Creatures, the castle specifically, and Junkyard, who's poking his head around the corner too. So that was a nice little Easter egg, wasn't it? But without I thought the blue eyes were a lock. I thought we were getting that as an alternate head as well. Didn't happen. Now I'm thinking, if we do get a Marauders repaint, do we get a head sculpt with the blue eyes that you could use on both junkyards? I think that would be a really cool thing to do. It would add value to the set. For those that maybe, didn't want just, a repaint of what they'd already got, but they would get, another head sculpt for junkyard. I think that'd be really cool, honestly. Thank you, Mr. Cheeseburger. I appreciate it. I'm also going to go ahead and say, long online, apologies for getting too angry with the comment. It's just one of those things, and we'll forget about it and move on. How's that sound? But thank you, Mr. Cheeseburger. I appreciate the super chat, and I appreciate what you're saying. I'll put it up on screen. I do appreciate that. Thank you very much. But also, yeah, let's just move on. It's just one of those things. I don't like the wind being taken out of my sails, and sometimes it does happen. Okay. Lenny got back to me. Yay! So in response to do the Vamp's front wheels turn left and right? He's responded, nah, just the suspension. So it was kind of clear on the video. But yeah, it's just the suspension they've kind of put in there. Again, I hadn't really dawned on me. That would have been kind of cool, but I'm not going to say it's not a deal breaker for me. Thank you, Lenny. Much appreciated for getting back to us on that one. Of course, that is one of those questions that can be answered. It's not some sort of like secret or anything. So that's cool. Thank you. I thought that was a panther on the Valkyries pack, says Scott. That it does kind of look very pantherish, doesn't it? But no, that is Junkyard with his blue eyes. Anyway, any dog owner feels the pain of that scene, don't they, Diana? Yeah, big time. I was watching it the other day and had to snuggle Phoebe a little tighter. So don't you ever get mind controlled by Cobra and get sent after me into a swamp, please. I think she's abiding by that at the moment, which is great, but you never know. Anyway, yes, hit the like button indeed, says Mr. Cheeseburger. Please do so. Very much appreciated. Now, moving on, here's just some more shots of Mutt and Junkyard. White back. I like this one. This is a good one. Action pose with a machine gun. Interesting. He doesn't come with the kind of retro inspired gun or submachine gun, but I don't think it's the end of the world, honestly. Again, like there's so many, mate. When you start to put all your figures in and around your workspace, and there's just like a sea of accessories that you're not actually utilizing, you go, do I need another submachine gun? No. But anyway, we might get one in another release. You never know. There's the back of Mutt. Although we have seen the back of Mutt on the, what's it called? This is the show floor at SDCC. Do I think the guns are too small, says Dan Stars 1. I don't think really, no. I don't know if that's really, I've had that thought with any of the weapons. Any specific guns you're thinking of, Dan Stars? Because I genuinely can't think of any that have been too small. Mutt's butt, I like that. Butt and junkyard. Butt and junk in the trunk yard. Sorry, that's ridiculous. Anyway, I do like these. These shots are great. This is actually one of my favorite ones from Shooting the Galaxy, because it's like you feel it. You feel the movement. Does anyone here watch what's that really awesome like SEAL Team 6 show? It might just be called SEAL Team or SEALs. And it's got the dog handler in it, and I think they're great. And he's a real like Navy SEAL, or he's a real Special Forces guy. And the dog or the dogs they've used are also dogs that he's used, I want to say. Do you remember, like, what is, I think it's SEALs. I think it's just called SEALs or SEAL Team. It's got thingy from Angel in it. No, it hasn't. Am I thinking of the other one? Am I thinking of like two different SEAL shows? Oh, this is going to bug me now because there are so many SEAL shows. Anyway, CBS show SEAL Team. Yeah, I think that's, yeah, thank you, Figure Six Pack. I Highly articulated says, some of the pistols seem small, but I've never held a real pistol, so I have vintage Joes as a frame of reference. Yeah, anyway, what I was getting at, sorry, that SEAL team thing, I'll come back to that. That SEAL team thing, yeah, that reminds me of this particular shot right here, because it just feels like that, one of that, something straight out of that show. Please tell me I'm not the only one with a huge bin of accessories that I never use or see again after I open my figures. You're not the only one, Mr. Cheeseburger. I don't have a bin, though. I just have them all spread out all over the place. It's ridiculous. I have like a little like weapons crate full of them. I have a 6-inch scale arcade machine full of them because it's got storage in the back. And I've got them spread out all over my desk. It's ridiculous. Yeah, highly articulate. We'll come back to the small weapons situation. I have to say, Adam says some of the pistols seem small, but I've never held a real pistol. I have, but I don't feel like, I don't know. That's hard. I'd have to have them. I'd have to look at some of them again. One of them definitely is because it doesn't fit the hand very well. But what figure was that? Maybe Chuckles? There was one figure that I had recently where I put the pistol in the hand and it was like the hand was way too like big. The pistol was too small for it. Can't remember what it was, but no, one of them definitely. We'll come to Metalhead then, Dan, in a second. I'll talk about that in a second. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, I really did enjoy SEAL Team. I know it's still on. There's another series. I think I'm behind on one series, I believe. Yeah, Foot Lockers don't come in them anymore. That's a good point, Scott. I hadn't really thought about that. I mean, today I hadn't thought about it. That's definitely come up on previous episodes. But yeah, you're right. There's obviously not going to be a Foot Locker anymore, which, to be honest, the first Foot Lockers I thought were great. The ones they had recently, I don't know, they were just a little bit lacking in design and detail, I think. I like the first. I like the ones with little boop, boop, boops on the front and like, you know, the bottoms with the kind of like footing on the bottoms, and then it kind of looked right in upright, but then the new ones looked all over the place with one handle on one side, and it looked a little bit weird. Recondo's pistol's tiny. Okay, that's interesting. Thanks, Jeremy. Some pistols are actually that small. I tried one. Yeah, I get that too in reality, but yeah, obviously, yeah. I think they have to make the gun They have to make the gun fit the hand at least. If it doesn't, then you know that's an issue. Maybe it was a Valkyrie with a pistol. I'm gonna go back and I'll check, and then I'll have. But one of them definitely had a small pistol. Kitty said. Yeah, it's a huge variety of stuff. It have to be said. But anyway, coming back to Mutt and Junkyard, some very amazing shots. I do love all these. Any extra homages I'm missing out on Leon? I'll call out Leon because he seems to find them. Nothing in these that I could see. I love this shot of him just petting Junkyard, and also the muzzle with the goggles down. So they're showing lots of different options for Mutt, basically, which is pretty cool. Yeah, the noisy cricket from Men in Black when Will Smith's got that tiny little gun and it just like blows him back into the windscreen of that car. Hilarious stuff. The widgety cricket. Yeah, so that's cool. Another good shot there showing no goggles in either situation, just helmet and muzzle, and then goggles on helmet, muzzle, and I like this is another good shot utilizing the hands as well, because the hands gestures, I had to say, when I first saw those, I was kind of like, yeah, take it or leave it, give it or take it. What? Take it or leave it. And when I start seeing these images, I'm like, oh yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff you can do with like the displays and the poses, because I know a lot of people will literally do, you know, you'll put a figure up on the shelf and you'll just like, you know, that'll be it. That's the default pose it's going to be in for the rest of its life. But I like to mess about with mine, and I'll reconfigure stuff and I'll change certain things and I'll put certain different heads on and things like that. So I like the fact that there's going to be lots of options to display Mutt and Junkyard. So I really like that. I think that's pretty cool. And then this one's great. Love that. Look at him being a good boy. Lovely stuff. This one is another good shot. Again, I don't see any homage on these shots. There could be something, though. There could be something hidden in there that I'm just not like seeing. I think what my personal Mutt loadout. It's going to be helmet, goggles, and probably muzzle. Goggles on helmet, not goggles on eyes, is probably what I'll do. And that's probably my default Mutt layout initially. And then I'll start messing around with it and doing lots of different stupid things with the display. But that's that. And there's another great shot showing the old nightstick. I keep calling it a tonfa, which I think is like the kind of martial arts sort of name for that particular style of weapon. But yeah, it's a nightstick in it. And yeah, really cool. Love these. Again, lots of different options for Mutt, really, in terms of what you can look like. And here he is with his little, that ain't a knife. It's a knife. Of course it's a knife. It's not a spoon, is it? And then Metalhead. Sorry, I'm going to have to move on a little bit quick because we are really into an hour and a half here coming into. This is what happens when I don't have Pat with me. Pat and I usually go on for ages, but man, I've been talking a long time here. Yeah, so Metalhead, again, showing that kind of display of gear in the windowless packaging. Now, I was hoping, and I will, this is a criticism if you call it that. It's a minor nitpick, but I would say that I would have liked to see, I know the Iron Grenadiers have got their logo on there, but I would have liked to see a more Destro-infused packaging for Iron Grenadiers figures. So rather, because I expect this is what the Cobra thing is going to be for most Cobra figures, that red background with the Cobra logo in the background. That's all good. That's all cool. And if it saves a bit of money on the packaging, I get it. But I would, and it's not like an exclusive, so it's not like it's although Marauders have some slight differences in theirs, but like it's not going to be a massive difference. Do you know what I mean? Like I get that. It's not going to have like Tiger Force or Python Patrol kind of scenarios going on. But I think it would have been really cool to have a Iron Grenadiers like logo in the background, like the one that's on the tampon on his arm. And it's really good to see that, by the way. I'm really happy that they're utilizing that and that kind of card back Iron Grenadiers logo, which we saw actually earlier on the Iron Grenadiers figure, the vintage one, when we were talking about the name only reveal. Another thing I will say is I really do love this figure. Like this has blown me away, no pun intended. I love the fact there are, like, yes, there are blast effects, but 3 different styles, but 6 blast effects. That's crazy. I don't think it needs that many. I don't even think it needs one for each missile, but they've just gone, yeah, you'll have one for each missile. That's crazy pants. Absolute crazy pants. So I think it's really cool that you've got like different like distances effectively. Short, medium, and long kind of like, lengths. And and also slightly different missiles. You've got 2 large missiles and 4 smaller missiles, which is really cool. Again, the 4 smaller go in the thigh launchers and the 2 big ones go in their top launchers. So I think it's really cool. I think it's an awesome update. I think the backpack in certain places looks like a blooming jetpack, let alone a blooming missile launcher. Anyway, let's talk homage, back of the packaging artwork, all that good stuff. Like I said, we've got the Destro call out, we've got the backpack call out. I don't think I've got close-ups of those. No, I went with the train, the bullet train from the Granny Dearest episode, and there's Norgahide on top. I'm sorry, I'm not going to argue with people about Buzzer, Norgahide. This is Norgahide, 1000%. Trust me, it's Norgs. And that's his hat he's waving, by the way, not a chainsaw, which some people thought. It's brown as well. Look at it. That is a brown hat, if anyone. And even more, if you need even more proof of it being Norgahide, not just having a name-only reveal very recently. But that episode where this train shows up, there it is, in all of its train glory. There's the Granny, the Metalhead Granny, and there's Norgahide, because Norgahide and Metalhead are indeed very close in the Deke cartoon series. So it just goes to really just kind of like pushes that homage even more. I think Buzzer would have makes no sense if you really think about it, other than being a figure in the line plan for classified. So they put more effort and energy into those, I think, than usual. So I would be surprised massively. I mean, it's Norgahide. Why am I even having this conversation with myself? Anyway, I want to see Granny figure next, please. Yep. I have a question, I think. I've got multiple questions. I've missed a lot of comments. Sorry, guys. Still confused why Zarana wasn't packed with the Dreadnoks insert. Yes, Scott. Same. She needs. I mean, well, I'll tell you for why. Probably because she, what's the word? Elevates beyond the Dreadnoks. Yes, that's her origin kind of scenario, but she definitely has a higher place in the kind of Cobra higher command. Following that in other iterations, like the comics. She's always considered more than just a Dreadnought. In the DK animated series, she's considered more than a Dreadnought. I get what you're saying, and I think it would have been perfectly fine to have her with 100% fine to have her with what's the word? Dreadnoks branding. I think it would have been very cool. Speaking of seals, I wonder when Hasbro will make wetsuits, says Renegade Biker. I would love a wetsuit figure. Love a wetsuit figure. I wonder if, you know, when you think of that submersible thing they did for the 60th anniversary. I know that's not the same, but it's the same idea as wetsuit submersible. Maybe that's something he gets, but in orange. I'd like to see him with more retro-inspired gear though, and maybe they'll do that, and then we'll get a retro-inspired, retro-carded wetsuit. Who knows? Does he come with little milk bones? No, that would have been cool though. That's Mutt and Junkyard, I think you're talking about there, Diana. Metalhead is going to be rad as expletive, says Joe. Absolutely. Do the blast effects come off so we load the missiles by themselves? Yes, Jeffrey. So the missiles and the blast effects are separate. They're just showing them in that configuration because it's easier for packaging and conserves space. But yes, the blast effect will come off and the missile can slot into the missile launchers, as seen on that particular figure there in the background. Not figure, but image of Metalhead in the background there. We'll move on to some of those in a second. What else? There's more questions here. I'll get to them first. Does anyone recall which Deke episode CC screams at Metalhead, fire it now or do it now? I can't remember, Paisano. I cannot remember. I'm not good with the Deke cartoon. I'm not as on it as I am with the Sunbow series. Not saying I prefer one. I mean, I do prefer the Sunbow series, yes, but I just don't have as much knowledge about the Deke cartoon. I'm actually changing that because I'm ever so slowly going through the whole series again. Chris, do you suppose Lenny may do double packs of the sub-team figures in the near future? Double packs of the sub-team figures. Could you give me an example, please? Like, are you talking reissues or are you talking figures we haven't had yet? Let me know in the thing, and I'll answer that question if I can. Figure 6-pack. There is a photo where Metalhead holds the missile itself. Yeah, absolutely. Metalhead was kind of indecisive and asking CC. He never had his bore in the cartoon. I'm not even sure he was a Dreadnought in that. Leon. Oh, Norgahide. Yeah. Trust me though. No, Clyde was in the cartoon. I'm pretty sure he was. He's in one of the episodes. I'm pretty sure he was. I might be wrong though. I've definitely never seen the wild boar, actually, come to think of it, in action in cartoon form. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's a Mandela effect that's going on in my head. Tor, thank you so much for the super chat. Much appreciated. It's Friday, so have a pint of Yojo Cola on me. Love your love for Jojo. Keep up the amazing work, mate. Thank you, TOR or Tor, or however you want to be referred to. That is awesome, and thank you for the super chat. That's very kind of you. They're never going to use sound attack for the figures like they did in the 2000s. No, they're not, are they? I thought that propeller thing was a precursor for wetsuits, said Leon. Yeah, maybe it is then. Maybe I've just underthought that. I just went back through both Deke seasons, Paisano. Brilliant. It was tough, but I succeeded. Right, so the 2-figure packs. Yeah, but like, are you saying? Was the question? Am I expecting Lenny to do 2 packs of figures we've already had, or are we going forward? So like are we getting 2 packs of like Night Force in the future? Are we getting 2 packs of other things? I don't know is the answer. Honestly, I don't know to either of those questions. Anyway. Yeah, so there's that. Anyway, Destro logo. Love that they've included that. I was, like I said, not concerned when I saw the Iron Grenadiers logo as is on the box, but the lack of like that Destro logo elsewhere. Yes, long online. Yes, we'll put it behind us and go forward. How's that sound? Yeah, cool. I'm easily swayed, as you know. So anyway, yeah, Destro logo. Glad to see it on the figure. Brilliant stuff. And then we've got the loadout, and there you can see the explosions, the blast effects even better on this shot as well. That how mean does that friggin' backpack look? It's almost like Doc Ock vibes, isn't it? Also dangerous for me to say that on a live video. The only thing I will say actually is like I wasn't like. I don't necessarily. I'm not blown away by the reuse of the Valkyrie weapons for Metalhead. They've done that a few times now with like Snow Serpent, Valkyries, Metalhead. Like he's not like he doesn't necessarily need rifles as such, but I like the fact they've given him those as like he's going to need a secondary weapon in a more practical sense. But the dude's got a ridiculous Dr. Octopus backpack, so I wouldn't worry too much about realism, guys. Thank you, Long Online. I appreciate that. And yeah, let's put that behind us. My apologies as well for getting a little aggy. It happens. But yeah, all behind us. And let's, moving on. All good. Good stuff, my man. Right. Backpack looks like pincers from the Mechanical Scorpion for the Desert Scorpion. Yeah, a little bit Scorpion-like. Anyway, really cool. I love all the different... I love the hairpiece options too. The fact that rather than give you like an awkward situation where you've got to stick goggles under his hair or over his hair, they've given you like the visor with hair. So it's like you've got 2 options there and you've got the helmet to go on. And that helmet is dope. I was very skeptical when I first saw the pre-production one. I was told what it was. And I was like, well, no one's going to get that. No one's going to work that out. And then when it came out with the deco on it, I'm like, oh, yeah, you've won me over. It's really cool. It goes really well with the figure. It looks really neat with the actual like vibe of everything. Don't see it here, but there's like that's all of the explosion things and everything. That's all of the blast effects. The only thing he's not got there is the helmet, the hairpiece, and the other rifle. So again, I think if you're going to give them all that stuff, I personally think they should be able to carry it or store it or what have you. So if you're going to throw stuff in that is just like, whatever. And again, you could put the knife in the chest sheath and have his other hand for the other rifle. But then you've got other pieces, you've got helmet. But again, what can you do when it's different headpieces and helmets and stuff like that? You're on a beat, hiding to nothing, as they say. So yeah, you're always going to have to like give up a few bits of storage with those kind of elements. Hands as well. But I think it'd have been cool if the backpack had rifle storage. It would have been really cool, I think. Extra weapons to pad out the deluxe fare. Definitely, Scott. I know what they're doing. I know what they're doing, but like it would be nice if when you get that gear that you can carry it to or store it. Probably a crime, but I may display him with only half of all the accessories unless I was putting him in a diorama. Blitz, it's a good point because I'm probably not going to have all of that going on at once. There'll be a moment where I have all that going on at once, but I'm probably going to have a certain default thing, initially. Back shot, Kitty said. Now, this is funny because I was talking about this the other day and I forgot that Lenny had actually described talking about the backpack fusing into the secondary when he talked about the secondary, the render reveal. So it was funny because I'm like, did I dream this? No, it actually happened. I love the fact that you look at that. Hopefully the backpack actually fuses in there nicely, because there's a couple of ports there that look really cool. The phone's going, but forget it. It's the ring out. I love the little deco touch there, that kind of like light blue, almost to kind of like give it some sort of like, I don't know, maybe like a fuel or like, you know, like power source, like light or something. I think that's kind of cool. Maybe it's dark energy. It's not dark energy, is it? It might be. Who knows? But yeah, really cool. And of course, you can see the thigh pieces are secondaries as well, so you could probably be able to remove those if you didn't want the launchers on his thighs all the time. If you wanted him naked for whatever reason, it can happen. Anyway, yeah, I love that. I'm going to be excited when I see that backpack fusing with that secondary. It's kind of about time that backpacks really did more with the secondaries in terms of connectivity. And I'm hoping that there is a bit more going on here with that as well. Because it needs more holes, in my opinion. Deeper pegs, deeper holes, Kitty said. Anyway, this is the shot that sold me on that helmet, and also that's probably how I'm going to have him for like initially. That's probably how he's going to look. I think that looks freaking awesome, and he's got such Visionaries Cravex vibes for me right there. Did I put that image in? I don't think I did. No, I didn't. I like this shot as well, where he's kind of got the head dipped down, so it's hiding inside the kind of chest armor. Love that. And that backpack looks like a jetpack. Like, that is so cool. Brilliant. Sorry, I just wanted to see if there was any homage in the background. Any Easter eggs? Not that I can tell. Not that I can tell. Yeah, metal butt for the back shot. Love that shot, though. I think it's brilliant. This is a great one as well. Again, the promo shots are just out of this world. I love the articulation that the backpack has, so that you can have, like, you know, 1 up, 1 down, 2 up, whatever you want it. It's really interesting. It's got some absolute vibes going on. Love it. And again, like the hair and the visor kind of option, it looks great. Lots of different versions of them. This is another shot I like. Again, reminds me of SEAL Team. Just that kind of, that move, that pose, when they're kind of, you know, like they're on the kind of attack and so on and so forth. I love it. Brilliant. And yeah, again, like he's spent, all his ammo's spent, so he's on the secondary weapon. Lots gone into that. A lot of thought has gone into these images, and I really big up Shooting the Galaxy for that. And this is great as well, kind of like jumping while firing. Like, there's so much going on here, so dynamic. He's also like holding his kind of visor in place, so he's obviously targeting something. Lovely stuff. And then this one, just looking straight, the back blast right in his eyes. No, it looks funny because that's how it's angled, but it's probably behind his head. Either way, it's going to burn his ears a little bit, isn't it? That helmet's necessary, I'm afraid, when you're firing the shoulder rockets. Like, in my head canon, I could see him, like, that helmet appearing, like kind of flipping over and coming onto his head, almost like in a, not like Iron Man kind of style, but like I could see some like element of it being, you know, appearing to fire the rockets and then goes away when those rockets are fired. Like, and then he's got just the visor to deal with the targeting for the thighs. So, like, you know, that's how I see it. Like, that's in my narrative. That's how I see it. And then he just takes the visor off to do that, where, you know, show off his eye tattoo, or his face tattoo, his eye tattoo, his tear tattoo there, which is really cool. Anyway, there is holding that missile as well. Of course, we talked about the Cold Slither logo. We talked about the eye tattoo, which is really cool. And that's it for Metalhead. Move on then to Hiss Tanks. Yes, so Hiss Tanks on their way. Friday, November 24th is when we have to get our addresses in. I'm at that cusp where I'm like moving house. It's so awkward. So I'm going to have to be like camped at the address that we give them eventually, so that I can get that and just in. I can't wait. I cannot wait. Obviously showing up in France already. Hughes de Dirch. I don't know how to pronounce that name. It might even just be Hughes Dirch. So I apologize if I'm brutally destroying. I've actually used your name in the past, and I apologize if it's brutally pronounced. But anyway, yeah, these shots came out of France, kind of unpacking his amazing Hiss tank. There's all the shots, and there's the light in shot. I love that. seeing the light. It looks really good, actually. I'm really impressed with how it's turned out. This is the best, though. The light in the back, oh, so nice. So UK His Tank address email says the 27th. Says Leon, thank you, Leon. So 24th for the US, 27th for the UK, and already in France. Incredible stuff. But yeah, I love the interior with the light there. Looks so good. This thing is going to be. This thing is going to. It's just like so. I'm so excited for this. The figures look good as well. We've got the tactician, the female gunner, and the driver, of course. All the accessories they come with too, and of course Cobra Commander, retro Cobra Commander with his bits and bobs. Just really excited for the His Tank, and I'm sure everyone else is too. Is that it? Yep, that's it. Right then, guys. Yeah, that's pretty much everything, I think, for the day. We just get into the shout-outs quickly, and then I'll call it a day. So let's move.
Have you tried Hoarder yet? No? Well, you need to. If you have a collection of things and want to create a fun and easy way of organising it and of course showing it off, then get involved. You can post items and build collections, and you can drop a status like getting a fun delivery or seeing some awesome related stuff on your travels. Build your collections with Hoarder. The app is free to download on Google Play and the App Store, so what are you waiting for? Get to hoarding.
Get to hoarding indeed. Shout outs then, and I'm on my own, so it's shout out to Pat and to Phil of Articulated Points. Pat is obviously my usual co-host. For those that aren't aware, he is Assembly Required right now. So big shout out to everyone at Assembly Required. Hope you're having an absolutely awesome time. I'm very jealous, and we wish we were there as well. So yeah, have a great time. Shout out to the fam, UK and US based, of course. We'll be speaking to the UK fam on the weekend, of course, on our usual Zoom call, so or FaceTime, whatever the hell we do. So yeah, I'll speak to you guys then. And love to everyone. Love to Kate. Love to Phoebes, who are miles away right now. But yeah, poor Phoebes. She got a bit sick recently, so we got the all clear from her vet, and now she's recuperating and getting lots of snuggles. Shout out to my little baby girl, Phoebes. I love her, and of course to Kate, who's doing the snuggling right now as we speak. Also, shout out to Brian Sauer, the maniac behind our awesome, wonderful graphics, including the ones you're seeing right now on screen, and of course the man behind Disassembly Required, which is taking place today and tomorrow. Sorry, I just realized I haven't got to plug my laptop in. There we go. Seeing how the sausage is made again. I always say that, don't I? Anyway, massive shout out to everyone at Assembly Required. I'm very, very, very jealous. Have a great time. Also, keep a lookout for something cool that I might have contributed to as well. It'll come out over the weekend. I won't say anything more. Anyway, also shout out as well to this awesome cover. Let me just get the info because I want to get everything correct on this one. Now, obviously, 301 is having one of those kind of situations, having a bit of a Snake Eyes Dead Game scenario, isn't it? Where we're getting hundreds of covers for 301. I get it. I understand why they're doing it. But at the same time, it gets kind of a bit overwhelming, doesn't it? But anyway, the one that struck out to me, there's been loads, and there's some really good ones. And there are most of them, if not all of them, are pretty cool. But this one just stuck out for me as being really dope. You got like Duke. I think that's Scarlet behind him. Actually, is it? Could be CoverGirl. I'm not sure who that is behind him, actually. But then it might even be Helix. Then you've got Wild Bill in the tiny helicopter, which is brilliant. You've got Dawn there. You've got Stalker there. You've got Storm Shadow, Lift Ticket in the other one. There's Scarlet at the bottom, of course. And there's Roadblock as well, looking very awesome with all his gear. It's just fun. There's such an interesting vibe to it. I love it. Effectively, it is a Rick Leonardi cover. So a shout out to Rick for a phenomenal job on that. And it is an EPIKOS exclusive cover as well. You can obviously catch that link in the description if you want to check that out. It's just a really cool retail. Is it retail or comics exclusive? It's an exclusive cover for 301, and it's just awesome. I'm really excited for the new comics. We're not really covering it in much depth at the moment, but we will be once I get then once I get settled in our new establishment, we'll be doing a whole new line plan of episodical content. That was a weird way to say it, but yeah, we'll be doing obviously the weekly. We'll be returning to the monthlies again. We'll be doing comics updates and bursts. Hoping to get Mark Seddon in on that and Tim as well on Talking Joe as much as they can. But obviously they're doing such a great job with the comics content that sometimes I feel like you'd be stepping on toes. But once the comics start kicking off, that is definitely something we're going to be returning to. We're also going to be doing movie bursts as well, because obviously there's going to be, you know, whenever information comes up, whenever any little rumor pops out or anything like that, or any kind of information, we'll be jumping on it. So Justin and I'll be getting back on those. We'll be kind of returning to a lot of those kind of things that we used to do, but we'll be doing a lot more of it. And I'm going to be doing a lot more content, a lot more kind of regular episodes, possibly even daily episodes, by the way. So it might get to the point where you're like, oh my God, I can't deal with all of this. But I'm going to be upping the content level to a much higher degree than I do at the moment, which again, we were at a point where we were doing a lot of stuff, and then obviously things happened and that had an effect. So we'll be moving into more content going forward. Anyway, also massive shout out to KICKLIY, who posted this. It's been a while since we saw some KICKLIY G.I. Joe goodness, but now he's doing some Jovember stuff, I think. And this is a beauty. It's like a Cobra installation. You've got, what I love here, there's a couple of beautiful little homages here. You've got the blimmin', what's it called? The battle station, like Cobra, what's it called? The blimmin' brain fart. You can see it in the background behind the bats anyway. The kind of like, you know, the mini Dio set basically that we used to get back in the day. The bats, stuns, and then a bunch of motor vipers getting taken out by Snake Eyes, Scarlet, Low Light, and Dial Tone. Just really awesome. Love it. It's great to see KICKLIY back. And he did a Serpentor with troops like live stream the other day drawing, and it's freaking awesome. So yeah, brilliant stuff. Great to have you back in the G.I. Joe mix. Surveillance port. Thank you, Leon. That's what it's called. I can't believe I forgot that. Yeah, it's a surveillance, but I had that as a kid as well. The Action Force version, or the International Heroes version. Yeah, anyway. So brilliant stuff. Really love that. There's also a cheeky little silhouette in one of those lookout posts behind as well. I just noticed. I wonder who that could be. Anyway, great stuff. Great to have KICKLIY back, and link in the description if you want to follow KICKLIY. That's it. Thank you guys for a very busy show, a long show. My voice is going to be burning at the end of this one. Like I said, we'll be back with a lot more cool stuff coming for you. Hopefully I'll have Night Creepers out over the weekend. Let's talk classified Night Creepers, and an Intel episode, which I'm hoping to do on Sunday. We will see for my Patreons, of course. Anyway, have a great, wonderful, amazing weekend. I'll see you on the next one. Don't forget to stay fresh cheese bags. Yeah? And as always, you know what to do. 1, 2, 3. Full frickin' force! I added another F in there. See you later.
Make sure you get involved with the discussion by liking, sharing and commenting on these videos, and as always you can keep up with the show after listening by following on Twitter @The Full Force, liking the Facebook page facebook.com/The Full Force, and if you would like to contact the show you can message us on either of those platforms with feedback and questions. We also have a Patreon page, so if you want to show your support for the show, see your name up in lights on these videos, or enjoy exclusive bonus content, then check out patreon.com/The Full Force Podcast, or click on the link on any of the posts this podcast appears in. Full Force.